Compare car insurance rates in term KOI. There are so many national and local insurance companies, all with their own lineup of plans. Comparing auto insurance rates in term KOI can be hassle, but not with my plan, since almost every state requires drivers to have a minimum amount of auto insurance. Failure to have their right policy can cause quite a bit of trouble, but purchasing car insurance is frequently a challenge because of how much policies differ. One could be less expensive but also not cover nearly as much as another policy. To really determine which policy is the best deal, drivers must compare the terms and the price. Of course, to compare the terms, the driver needs to know which items to compare and how to elevate the result. More information about getting the cheapest car insurance in Tier KOI is available throughout the remainder of this article. Drivers who want to start comparing rates and getting quotes from top providers in their area right away can enter their zip codes in the space provided. Are you covered? Receive a free auto insurance quote in term KOI online. There is one thing that a lot of people think about car insurance, and that is that all policies are the same. This idea results in customers purchasing a policy based on cost alone. If cost is the only criteria you are looking at, it is very probably that insurance policy you choose will not fully satisfy your needs. We specialize in fielding the most affordable insurance policy, so we understand that affordable coverage is very important. We are not saying that just because a policy is affordable that will not cover all of your needs. There are many different insurance companies in term KOI that offer a wide variety of coverage at various levels. These companies also different customer discounts and coverage points. When you see these insurance policies side by side, you will be able to compare the difference more clearly and will be able to see why these differences are so important in your decision. There are many factors that will affect the cost of your car insurance. These factors include which company you decided to go with, your coverage amount, the type of policy, the amount of deductible, and many more. Additionally, different vehicles have different insurance rates. In fact, your location in term key can have an impact on the price of your auto insurance quote. When you are ready, enter your zip code to receive free online quotes from some popular companies. Cheapest car insurance quotes in term key. It is not doubt that when analyzing factors that affect your rates in comparison, some factors will be more important than others. This only makes more sense as some factors have more effect on your driving risk level that others do. Your risk level is extremely important to insurance companies when calculating how much your rate will be. The list of things we will need to consider when you choosing your insurance coverage is long, but each factor needs to be considered seriously in order to save you more trouble down the road. The first things you will need to take a look at are the amount of coverage personally, driver budget limits, and preferred companies you might wish to work with over others. Other factors to consider that will affect your rates are your driving habits, the environment in which you typically drive, the more amount of driving you usually do. My rate plans comparison tools helps compare these factors easily, but you should always consider these factors yourself and make smartness decision on your own based on what can you afford and the coverage option that work for you. The way you drive in turn key will greatly affect your rates depending on how, when, and where you drive. It's important for your to honestly assess these factors yourself when going into a comparison, because car insurance companies will be doing this too. Driving over the speed limit, driving long distance though busy cities, and frequently traveling on highways or interstates can all put you at a higher risk level and increase the cost of your insurance. A higher risk level determined by the insurance companies in questions can cause your rate to go up determinically. Depending on these things that have affected, you might also want to reasonably consider choosing higher coverage options if you do drive at a high risk level. Drivers with a high risk level are often prone to accidents and other things that could warrant the use of insurance. Preparing yourself now by choose higher coverage will make your life a lot easier when the unthinkable happens later. It may also be smart to consider an accident forgiveness policies if you would like extra protection or have had a crash in the past. It is easy to overlook. Driver includes more than just road and areas you take your car. Where you live in Turkey could have a large impact on your rates depending on the risk level of the area. Things such as parking your car on the street instead of in a garage or living in an area with a higher level of robbery or accidents can both cause your rate to increase. A good way to avoid this increase could be to install an alarm system in your vehicle. Doing so could potentially lower your insurance rate. Finally, your budget is perhaps the most important thing you should consider when comparing auto insurance rates. There are times when your budget can greatly limit the amount of coverage you are able to sign up for. Although you should always try to set aside enough money for proper coverage, there are limited when doing so simply impossible. In this situation, it is more important to consider a company you can afford in order to prevent not being able to pay in future. An additional thing you should consider that doesn't necessarily play as much of a role: level of service you wish to receive from the company you choose. A good practice when comparing car insurance companies in term key is not to check reviews from the other people who have used companies you are comparing. You should, however, be careful when taking these reviews into account, as people offer embracing the truth when they are angry.